Great day, great day.
Peace. Beautiful day. That was great to be, what an introduction. Hey.
Great day to you, Ray.
It's great to see you, Jerome. How you feeling?
Oh, feeling electric. Are we coming in clear? I just want to make sure the connection is okay.
Yeah, I saw that. I just adjusted to where it should be good now. So things should be smooth. I can hear you.
Okay, okay. So you can hear me clearly and see me clearly?
Yes, Crystal.
Much, much love. What's been going on? She said I should have to pay to look this good. She said I
Listen,
should have to pay.
I I had to double take myself. I was like, hold on, who's that? It's me? Bet. So
Man,
I've been feeling good.
you reminded me of Mac Dre today, Ray.
And you're gonna have to tell me who that is. You're gonna have to
So
enlighten me.
Mac Dre, he was an artist back in the day that like started like things like getting hyphy or Mac Dre like the Thiz face, Thiz
Mm,
face Mac Dre like 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 Oakland Bay Area type rap lingo.
okay.
And Mac Dre had this song. He said, I'm in the club and I'm feeling myself. I'm feeling myself. Like I look good and I'm feeling myself.
Period. No, you're gonna have to send me that song because listen, it's coming. My birthday's next week. I'm day one Leo season, so we hype over here, and it feels good to feel good. So you got to share that for sure.
Oh man. Leo season. We in resonance. We in harmony. I'm a Leo rising. That's my ascendant.
Oh, love it. Yes. See that it's that sun, you meet the Leo energy and it's the radiance immediately. So I see that. I see it for sure. But we still out here in the Cancer season. No shade to the Cancers. I got a lot of Cancer placements as well. So, feelings are heightened, period. So
But that sunlight though, that
mm,
radiance, extra relucent, you got that sunlight in you, you got that light in you. It's that solar power, you know?
exactly. Them solar rays. You feel me? You feel me? Yeah, it's been real nice over here. I just started a new employment. I've been working at a company that is very much aligned with my passion for holistic wellness and
Congratulations.
nutrition. So yeah, I've been feeling fueled by that and being able to reach more people with the message that I've been, pushing on for some years now. So things
Yeah.
have been real bright for sure.
The message is getting around. Congratulations.
Thank you. And how have you been living, Jerome? What's been going on with you?
I've been living amazing. It's like they say, what goes around comes around, So we put out that energy always comes back,
Mm,
The things that we project is what we attract, you know?
period. Period. It's just good flow continuum. It's just the continuum of it all. So and knowing and having that faith that what you put out is coming
Of
back to
course.
you and that continuous output of such.
And I would love to know what do your friends call you? Like what do homies call you? Your people call you?
Yeah, I got, it's been in rotation lately because I think I've been making a lot of new friends and I've been meeting them in spaces where Ray Solar is very active and present. And Ray is my middle name, so that's been the newest addition, I guess. But my birth name is Jessica, so people that know me. I'm Jessica. People that meet me in like professional settings, Jessica. My friends call me Jess. Like Jess is probably the one that I immediately get to. Ray, Solar. I
Yeah.
got Solar is a favorite of mine. But
So,
I got a
Solar
lot.
is a favorite. So you like Solar over Jess? You like Solar?
You know what? I really don't. I don't know, and I've had to get comfortable saying I don't know. Like someone asked me that at my new job because my name tag says Ray Solar, but they're calling me Jessica because that's my paperwork, and they're like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "I have no preference. I don't know if that's a problem. I just, I like it all. It feels good to. I feel like there's so much of me that I need a few different names to
Mm.
really hold it down. So it changes, with the season, with the day. I'm Ray Solar right now through and through. Jess has her moments. Jess has, if I really were to break it down, it would come down to different, areas of my life where I'm using, different parts of me. Like I have Jessica from birth to probably 16. So
Yeah.
that's Jessica through and through. And then Jess was the, you know, I'm cool now. I'm coming into my own. And then Ray Solar was really a channeled message. It was like one of my first things that I received, to where I really didn't understand what it meant or
Mhm.
where it was going. But, you know, I changed my Instagram immediately. It was plant-based empath before that. So, you know,
Okay.
I was getting there. I was getting warmer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then and like even within the last few months, I think is when I've been um, comfortable enough to introduce myself as Ray,
Okay.
and like what that even means to me now, even speaking on that, and the feelings of like apprehension that come within me. It's Jessica. That's like, you know, that expansion into something more that I think we all go through. And I'm just really dealing with it on a level of names, but people deal with it on so many levels of identity.
Mhm.
How do I represent all of me? Because I'm
Right.
one being, but there's
Right.
so much in this one being. So what does that really look like?
Right. Right. Thank you for that breakdown. You
Yeah.
know, thank you for putting that so eloquently. It changes with the seasons. You
Yeah.
know, you don't even need a reason, right?
Period bars. Yeah. And thank you for asking, because yeah, that's something that I think it's something that we're talking about in a collective stance, as far as like just how we show up, who we are, and being able to speak on who we are, and how we feel comfortable being represented, or you know, how we're being misrepresented by others. So being really clear on who we are so that we know what we're bringing to tables. So I feel like everybody's dealing with that on some in some way, shape, or form, of just getting 10 toes down on, you know, this is me, so let's move forward, let's expand from there.
Right. I love it. 10 toes down, standing on something, you know? So can
Mm-hmm.
you talk about, you know, when that evolution and that fusion from Jessica to Jess to Ray, when did that exactly happen? Because was that like an awakening of sorts, or did you feel like something came to you? How was that downloaded?
So yeah, I feel like Jessica to Jess, that happened like maybe my senior year of high school.
Mm.
And that I think just, it may have happened just in like, I feel like it happened in the workforce. I feel like when it started working, I feel like everyone just started calling me Jess. Like, and I've noticed that ever since. Like, I've never introduced myself as Jess. People just kind of, I tell them my name is Jessica, and it's like, oh, Jess. And I always thought that was funny. Like, I don't know if I've ever done that to someone where I'm like, this is their name, I'm gonna give them a nickname. But
Mm.
I like it. Like I always was like, cool. So I think I got it when I was my first job, which was Jamba Juice.
Mhm.
And you know, to this day, I work making you know, smoothies and juices and things. So that's a big passion. So I guess even that was an initial transformation right there. So that was, yeah, when I was a senior. And also, side note, I do have another name. I have another one, Jessie. Jessie is something that's only in my like immediate family, and it's not like anyone even calls me that. It's like when they talk about me, I'm referred to as
Jesse.
Jessie. So that's like very like intimate, you know, but
Okay.
I'm sharing. So,
Okay.
um,
We intimate.
yeah,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
exactly. So, but yeah, Jess was probably in high school, and then Ray Solar, that was maybe a few years later. It was an interesting story actually. I was with a friend that is a very like, she was a very integral part of my, I guess, my awakening that we'll all be talking about right now. But we met in psychology class because I went to school for psychology. And on this particular day, I went to pick her up from school, or for school, and she like wasn't ready. And I was very like, at that time I was super anxious. Like I was very tight knit. Like I need to be there. Like I was late all the time, but I didn't like being late. I was very like, let's go, let's go. So I had to surrender deeply into the fact that not only were we late, but we ended up not going at all. She was just like, let's just flow with it. And I trusted her so much. Like my spirit was like, go with the flow. I'm like, okay. So we were in her room, and we were pulling cards and things. And I think I had just started getting into tarot. I think I had just maybe gotten a deck. I definitely wasn't like offering it or anything like that this time. Um, but it just came to me. Like, I think I was really just like in the space, you know, spirits was active. We were pulling cards. We were talking about whatever was going on at that time. And I was just like feeling this like change, this wave of change. And I've learned that the waves of change are very identifiable in the physical realm. Like I notice when I'm going through it, because I get a new water bottle,
Mm.
I get a new backpack.
Mm.
I get new clothes. Like, I don't know if it's a Leo thing that's why I see it, like if it's my accessories and everything, but I notice the changes on a physical sense. And I'm like, oh, things, you know, the tides are moving. So I had already kind of felt that. Like, I think I probably had already had a new water bottle at that time and was like, okay, it's time for something different. And as far as Instagram goes, because that's really where Ray Solar was born. It was just my name on Instagram. And then even then, it took me a long time to take it on as a name versus a business. But in that time, I had just been plant-based empath, and I was posting vegan recipes, like doing a whole, like, that was my another part of my awakening, was just eating differently. So that was
Mhm.
what got me on the gram.
Yeah.
And I was just like plant-based empath. It hit until it didn't. Like, it was very like general. I wanted to become more of me, and I had a friend in my ear at that time before that was always telling me that, like, my authenticity needed to show, that I was very cookie cutter on Instagram, that I posted what people wanted to see, but I wasn't me. Like, anything that was me, I would put on close friends or something like that, or like, you know, and my personality is big. Like, you've seen me in person. Like, you know, imagine just trying
It's
to
big
put that,
hard.
just trying to fit that in a little, you know, plant-based empath. Here's my recipes. I've got so much to share. So I was like just thinking about that. And honestly, Ray Solar, and this is something that I've been thinking about, but I don't know if I've told anyone. The other part of it, like the reason that I chose Ray Solar, aside from it being like the sun rays and all of that, like, is the scale, like the musical scale, like the do re mi fa sol la,
Yeah.
Ray Sola.
Yeah.
I really fucked with that because I was in choir my whole life, and I like singing is a big passion of mine. And only within like the last few months I've actually started making music myself. So even having that be a big part of my name and it not coming through and being active with Ray Solar until now is just like, wow, full circle. But yeah, that's another big reason, Ray Solar. It's because of the chromatic scale.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So
Man,
ever since then, it's just been like, what's next? You know, Ray Solar's been out here though. She's been out here.
right. Right. You know, what's next? Like, it could be anything else tomorrow, you know? We evolving, we rising, we growing. Like Sunrise always be saying, let's grow, you know?
Oh, that's
We,
girl, exactly. Then that's
we
all there is to do. When the sun is out, you know, what else are the plants doing besides growing and then evolving and then, you know, de-evolution, re-evolution? It's just there's no choice. They don't get to say, I don't want to grow today. I'm gonna just go sit over here under the shade and not catch that sunlight. Like, if you planted, you're planted. You got no choice but to grow.
right, like all these plants over here, you know, and even the ones under the shade, they still getting paid, you know?
Exactly. Under the shade, they still getting paid.
They
Like,
still
they know what
getting
time
paid.
it is.
The light is upon us, you know?
It is. And they, yeah, no other choice but to be abundant and beautiful in their own way. You know, you can't hide your shine
Right.
when you're so divine. Damn, we're spitting bars right
Hey,
now.
come girl. You know it's you know.
Fire. But
So so Jessica, you were in the church choir. Wait, alto? Alto?
I was in this. I was in the high school choir, but it was my choir director was also the leader of the like Bible study at school, and we did sing a
Okay.
lot of religious music. And I wasn't raised religious at all, but choir always made me feel like connected to spirit. Like, I always wanted it so bad, and that was my avenue. But I was a second soprano, so
Second soprano. Woo! You
yeah.
Mariah Carey.
Sometimes, see, they would play with me. They literally, that second soprano means if we need high part, you do the high part. If we need a low part, you do the low part. So it was fun because I always was like the sneaky, like, you know, offbeat one, or the sneaky, like, off pitch. But you know, in real time, it's causing issues because I always be singing off pitch now. I'm like, nah, but I'm harmonizing with the soprano, but I gotta harmonize with myself. So yeah, it was fun though. It was so much fun.
Right. And I love that too. You gotta harmonize with yourself, you know. You gotta be you.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be you.
Exactly.
So we
Yeah.
actually but just now, shout out to Mama Loves Her Veggies. She said that was a bar
Period.
fit. Mama Loves Her Veggies was talking about the bar
Period. We
there.
about to release a demo. Don't even trip. Mixtape coming this way.
Oh man. So when it came to, you know, plant-based empath, when did you become plant-based? Like, where was that on your journey, and how did that impact you? Like, what did you switch from to become plant-based?
So I became I started originally vegan. Like vegan was my first big transition. That was 2018, so I was probably like 20 years old. Um, and that was just because honestly, like in the moment, I didn't. It was something, you follow the feeling. You feel called to do something and you do it. But growing up, I always just, I wanted to eat a certain way that wasn't accessible to me. Like
Mm,
my family was very, ate a certain way, and a lot of like, just the common American diet that we all eat. The Kraft mac and cheese, the hot dogs, the McDonald's, all of that stuff, and like it was good. But I remember just wanting fruits and vegetables. Like I just love like just the vibrancy of it all. Like I got fruits tatted on me. Like I've always felt that passionate about it, and it just wasn't resonant with the people in my house. So I wasn't really gonna have that access. So I told myself when I'm 18, I'm like I'm taking off. I'm like I'm gonna cook my own meals. I'm gonna eat my own things, like because I know what I want. So I did that, and but growing up, like I was obese my entire life. Like I ended up losing about 80 pounds when I became an adult, just off of running and cooking my own food. And that was before I was even fully vegan. But honestly, I became vegan because it was easier. Like, I didn't like cooking meat. I didn't like the whole process. So I was like, and I didn't know anything about fruits and vegetables. Like, I didn't know how to prep like anything. Like, I didn't know how to cook. So I wanted to learn. I figured the easiest way to learn is just, start with the basics. And I noticed that I was still feeling so fueled by, rice, beans, and broccoli. Like, I'm set. Like, so it just like, I became more passionate about it the more I learned. And then as I like learned about more fruits and vegetables and then like different herbs and supplements, and I got into herbalism and just like this expansive world of how we're able to heal ourselves. And like, at first it was, it started out for me about the physical, like, you know what? No, it didn't. It became about the physical look for me, like when I was losing weight and things, but it never was that. It was, I knew that I didn't feel right in my body.
mm.
Like I knew that when I was in high school and I was sitting in those chairs, I shouldn't have such a backache. I shouldn't feel so exhausted. I should, I'm 17. I should have more energy than this. And again, you've seen me. I have a lot of energy, so I felt like I wasn't able to get it out. I was like, I can't move. So I needed to figure out how to do that. And um, being vegan, I was vegan for about a year, but it was becoming a stressful situation. It was putting a lot of my mental health as far as like figuring out what to eat, because I started having like digestive issues, like, and this is all spiritually connected. Like I've come to peace with all of it as far as like my solar plexus being activated, my creativity turning on, like a lot of stomach stuff. And that's why I feel like I've even dealt with this whole like weight loss my whole life because of like me, the connection with my stomach and creativity and being a Leo. But anyways, I started having like digestive issues where things that I used to be able to eat were giving me issues. I was like couldn't eat gluten and like fruit and sugar for like a good 6 months. So I was just like super stressed. Like I didn't want to eat anything. And I realized that I was just being really restrictive with myself to begin with, and that my original commitment to being vegan was actually more of a restriction move. Like I was like the way I was thinking about it when I wasn't feeling well was like, you ate this way your entire life, so we're going to punish you, so you're not going to be able to eat it anymore because you've done it enough. Not thinking in moderation, no balance whatsoever. I was just hitting extremes. So I had to, and I realized I had such a fear of ever eating meat again. And a fear, like I didn't want to have a fear of anything. So I'm like, even if it's something that is perceived to be good for me, like I shouldn't be afraid. I shouldn't feel this hesitation. You know, that's something, putting something in control of me, that is outside of me. So I received in a message, actually a channeled message that my friend had channeled for me. My friend Unique, she is actually the one that taught me how to channel spirits through my body. So shout out to Unique. She told me, or they told me, that I was going to be eating meat again. And I remember feeling so like defensive and like confused. So I sat with that. Definitely, I was like, well, if they said it, they ain't never lied. So so it's gonna happen. And my partner at the time, he was really big into like salmon. So I remember the first time I had salmon, like after eating vegan for about a year or so, and that just like the fear, but it was so good. So, and my body just felt so alive, and also just like brain function for me, because I have ADHD. So just the way that my brain, you know, the way the synapses connect and things is better when I have like healthy fats and a lot of that like in my body, and I don't like avocados. So I had to be real with myself and what my body needs, let go of the ego of veganism, let go of the restriction and the fear of gaining weight again. Like I had all of this like fear that my body was just going to like turn on me and I wouldn't be able to move anymore, like all of this mental stuff that I was like, what? And this was, you know, after plant-based empath. It's interesting because plant-based empath was my name, but I was vegan that whole time. But when I incorporated meat again, I'm still very much plant-based. Like I eat vegan most days at this point, but it's that freedom, that comfortability, that knowing that like I'm not going to die if I need to eat some salmon because I need some protein. I'm not going to die like if I, you know, XYZ, but it's moderation, it's balance. Because for me, I know that food and I have an interesting relationship just based on how I've been raised, and how I've just really changed things for myself. And literally, like, it's probably been about 5 years, so I'm still very fresh in it. You know, Jessica, like I said, was my first 17 years. Jessica's very conditioned. So I'm being very easy with myself. But the plant based journey has really helped me to learn um, food as fuel rather than as a pleasure,
Wow.
and really listening to my body and seeing like what it responds to, because it's loud and clear. Like I know what it likes, I know what it doesn't like. Like right now, I'm sipping on bone broth, which
Mm.
is another fear. I was like, ew, bone broth. It sounds like it tastes like bones, but I tried it. There we go. I tried it at my work last week, and it my body was just like instantly like lit up. Like I just felt amazing immediately. I was like, wow. So I'm sipping on bone broth, which is something that I wouldn't have never like thought of for myself as a vegan. But I'm really listening to what my body needs over what my brain wants, if
Okay.
that makes sense. A lot
Okay.
of words.
Okay. Wow. Wow. Oh my goodness. Jessica, I relate to you on so many levels. First of all, thank you for your vulnerability. Just thank you for your share. Thank you for opening yourself up and really pouring out these experiences and all the things that are inside, you know, bringing them out on the outside and speaking in your authenticity, speaking in your truth. Because I too, you know, they diagnosed me at a very young age with ADHD, you know, told me I couldn't sit still, told me I couldn't focus like all these other kids, and I took years and years and years of pharmaceuticals, you know, all the over the countertop drugs and things to keep me focused and to allow me to pay attention. And who knows what years and years of that, you know, what the side effects were. But I used to have a fear. I used to have a fear of like, what has this done to me? Has this changed my chemistry? You know, like has this changed me forever? Am I ever going to be normal? Right? You know, so that was always a misunderstanding of the energy that was flowing through me and to me within my vessel. And like you said, the creativity. I love, Jessica, how you put two and two together with the solar plexus, that willpower, and then also the sacral chakra, the creativity center, you know, like having that stomach area, whatever goes on in here is affecting the energetic flow that you choose to allow to grow and plant seeds into everything that you do, you know, to all your creative pursuits. So that's
Yes.
so cool that you have that parallel, because I this was not the knowledge that they taught me in college, you know.
For real. Okay, this like the gut connection. Like I know I'm gonna write a book on it, but like I feel like I have to scream it from the rooftops. Like I have just so much to say about like just there's so many avenues on how the stomach is just, you know, you are what you eat is like the baseline that people get stuck on, but it's like if we could just expand onto like the fuel you put in your body, like, and it's like nothing crazy, it's literally just being mindful of the communication of your body. Like your body knows what it wants. Your body is of this earth, your spirit is not. Okay, so your spirit has ideas, your spirit likes, you know, has enjoys pleasure, and that's why it's on, you know, that was part of the plan, that was part of the human sign up. It's like, oh, I get to enjoy things, pleasure, so it's always going to want to go towards those things. But the body has understands the necessity for it all. The body is just, as you know, we were talking about the plants earlier, like there may be, you know, we may think that a plant might want full sun. We see a plant in that shade and we're like, bro, don't you want to be out there? You want all that sunlight? Sunlight's amazing. And then it's like, no, 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 I only need half sun, half shade. So the body knows I only need some of that, you know, that sweet stuff, and I actually need some bitters. I need some detox. I need some balance. So it's been so fun to like actually, you know, fun. I say it's been fun, but it's actually been like physically painful to get to know my body because like I tell people, I'm like, I didn't start having physical problems until I started losing weight. But
Wow.
it's like, and it's actually because I was able to hear what my body's been saying this whole time. Like I was stuffing down the messages, I was silencing it, I was weighing myself down very much to where when I finally let go of the weight, all of a sudden my stomach hurts all the time. All of a sudden I have knee problems. All of a sudden my hips, you know. But then I figured out through, you know, research, meditation, chiropractor, all of the tools I could find that it's all connected. Like literally the pain that I feel in my back is the same pain I feel in my toes. Like it's all the same nerve. So once I was able to look into spirituality of that, you know, what does this mean for me? Like it's just been a lot of connecting different dots and trusting my body to lead the way because I'm really just like going off gut feeling, you know, and I've been to the doctors and people, you know, I'm a stubborn person. So it took me a long time to even want to go to the doctor for things like this because I just knew like or I had this feeling that they wouldn't understand what I was going through just because I just didn't like the doctor from growing up because all they would do is tell me that I needed to lose weight, but give me no solutions on how to do so. So that was my like childhood trauma, I guess, having to do with the doctor because I just didn't want them to tell me about my body but give me no solutions. And that's ultimately what they still do for me. It's like I went to them with my stomach problems, I went to them with my knee, I went to them with all this and I got misdiagnosed each time. And they just told me to do what I was already doing because I would explain to them what I was doing and they're like, well, keep it up, it seems to be working. I'm like, then why is my stomach, why am I so inflamed? Like, why do I look pregnant? Like I'm eating clean and why do I still look pregnant? So then I realized it's not a physical thing, it's a spiritual thing, it's an energetic thing. So I had to heal that though. I realized I couldn't have an aversion to Western medicine because the goal is balance, the goal is integration. So I couldn't just say all herbs, no doctor, all plants based food, you know, no medicine because it's about, you know, balance. And we'll talk, you know, when you said the mental health, like medicine for mental health, we will talk about that too because I have opinions on that. But as far as just like overall medicine, like I learned that I'll go to the doctors to have a conversation. Like, and I'm grateful for the access to do that. I'm grateful to be able to go to a doctor and to be able to tell them what's going on and not like put my all eggs in their basket, you know, and say, please save me. Like, because I understand they're just practicing too. Like they're actually learning from me by me explaining to them. Like I explained to my doctor, I love my doctor. I explained to her that I feel this tight chest sensation whenever I channel and that it feels like because my partner at the time was like, go to the doctor. Are you having a heart attack? And I just did it to entertain him because I'm like, I know I'm not having a heart attack, but my doctor's learning from me by me explaining to her that like I'm having these physical sensations that are spiritually connected, and she understands. So I'm like building a relationship in that way rather than I think we are all conditioned to like go to the doctor to save us. Like we can't save ourselves. That we can like that we need to be saved. That we can't just care for ourselves on a daily basis to where there won't need to be some catastrophic thing. And if there is, you know, having a relationship with your doctor and your herbalist. But I don't remember why we started talking about all of that. That's just where that's
Wow.
where I'm at.
You're bridging both worlds, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you're bridging the gap. The spirit,
Bridging the gap.
yeah,
Yes.
you're bridging it. You're doing it, Jess. Oh my
Yes.
goodness. You
Thank
know,
you.
like what a privilege to be able to impact someone, especially in the medical field, and show them a new side, you know, a new perspective for the collective. Like my mom is a doctor, you know, she's an
Mm-hmm.
OBGYN. So for years and years, she always sided with doctors. Whenever they prescribed something, whenever they diagnosed something, whenever they said anything, she would always side with them, you know, even though I felt the way I felt. So I kind of felt a little bit left out because there were so many things that I didn't know about nutrition. I didn't know about holistic health. I didn't know about, you know, the all encompassing, but I was just getting, you know, one side of the story, one piece of the puzzle, you know, one side of the
Mm-hmm.
page. So that's so cool that you're able to illustrate that, you're able to influence somebody else in their own field and show them that there's more out here, you know?
Yes. And that's, it really is about how we communicate to these people. Like, if we want to bridge the gap, if we want to be able to, you know, have that integration, because all truths exist for a reason. You know, the doctor can be right and the herbalist can be right. So can we be right together? And we are conditioned to have fear of the unknown and defensiveness and all of this, feeling like we're under attack when we are questioned, things like that. If we can get around that, and it starts with how we communicate to others. Like, we really can't control how other people receive what we say. All we can control is how we say it. So I can't control if the doctor wants to hear me or not. All I can do is go there. And I've been blessed, you know, with a doctor that does hear me, and a doctor that I'm able to communicate with. But being, like I said, 10 toes down in our message and what we bring to the table, and really being able to learn from our own experiences and push forward, like not becoming a victim to your own experiences. And, you know, the constant walls I hit through the doctor's office, like, I really did not want to go back. I was really over it. But I'm just continuing to see, like, well, why is this being put on my table? Why is this being put on my plate? You know, that faith that I'm being dealt these cards for a purpose. Like, these physical things I'm dealing with, at this point, I know anything I go through, I'm meant to share. Like, I dealt with this whole thing with my spleen a few weeks ago after I did combo for the first time. I like
Oh,
completely shocked my spleen because I was super cold during my combo ceremony. So I couldn't take cold foods for like the next 2 weeks. It would just, my body immediately rejected them. And I was actually blessed with some like random Instagram posts that I saw about spleen chi, and I had to research where the spleen is in the body, and it was where the pain was coming from. So I was able to learn what the spleen did, because I couldn't have told anybody about the spleen a month ago. But after dealing with that and being able to heal myself in that way, I'm like, okay, that's connected to digestion still. That's still connected to the stomach. That's, how does that fit into what I've already learned so far about myself? Like, I'm a bit like, we're all our own case study, you know? You really got to figure out, watch what happens to yourself and be like, okay, well, how did I get through it? And how is this knowledge that other people can be blessed with?
right,
So
right.
yeah, it's like, that's why I say, like, it's been fun. Like, it's fun to get to the conclusions, but at this point, like, I know, you know, at this point, if I eat something I know that is gonna mess with me, I can't be surprised when I'm out here with the stomach ache or thinking, you know, heavy thoughts. Like, it's more than just how you feel in your stomach. It's like how you move, how you wake up in the morning. Like, you're waking up based on the energy of yesterday. What did you fuel yourself with yesterday, and how you start your day today, and how do you want to continue your tomorrow, or how do you want the production to be of what you do? It's all about, you know,
Mm.
fuel like a car. What kind of fuel do you want to put in your car, you know?
Yeah.
What kind of that, you know, if it's a nice car, you know, if you got the access to give yourself that little extra fuel, that 89, I'd be pushing 87, but you know, there's 89 and 91s for them nice cars. If you got it, then do it. And you know, secret is, we do got it. We have the ability to care for ourselves in that luxurious way. It's not as foreign of a concept as it's made to feel like. It's just about figuring out how it shows up for you. It doesn't look the same for everybody, and it couldn't.
You're right. You're so right. I agree. You know, it's like what fuel are we putting into our vehicle, into our vessel? Like if it's
Mm-hmm.
just unleaded, you know, forget it. You know what I'm saying? Like what are we doing? But if we have it available, if we have to go premium, if we have the means to put that diesel, you know, if we have the means to put that in there, then you know we can. And you know what's
Mm-hmm.
when I hear you and when I listen to you, Jess, because oh my goodness, like just when you talk about the feeling of, because you're like your own scientist, you're your own alchemist, you know, you're doing your own experiments, your body's your own laboratory. Like to be able to know that you can heal yourself is incredible. You know, that's amazing to know that you can look up something, you found out something on the spleen, and then you figured out how to deal with it. You know, you figured out how to work with it. You said, okay, here's something in my
Mm-hmm.
body I didn't know about. Now I know about it now. I can heal myself, but I can also pass on this knowledge to somebody else so they can do the same, you know, to keep that energy flowing, keep that energy growing, and to keep that energy going. So My goodness,
Yes.
80 pounds, Jessica. So 80 pounds, when you felt the feeling of, do you feel like it was the numbness, or do you feel like it was you became more highly sensitive to the pain that was always there, but you were unaware somehow?
I feel like, yeah, it could be both. Like, hold on, let me get my phone charger just so I can
Oh,
make sure
of
that
course.
stays
Yeah.
plugged in at all times. But as far as, yeah, I feel like I was became more sensitive to it. I feel like it may have always been there. Like I had my body had certain limitations definitely like before I started losing weight, like because I was very active even so like I played like every sport like that I could name. There's only a couple that I didn't get to play. Like I was very grateful for that. Like I would tell my parents I want to play something and I would at least get to try it. Like I tried everything once. But that's the thing, I never committed. Like my body like was just like I didn't have endurance. Like I had the like and I think I still kind of am working with that because I still have like bouts of energy. Like I can go really hard, but then I'll be exhausted. Like when you saw me dancing that day, like the few days before that, I had danced so hard that I like had to stop for like the rest of the night because I just exhausted myself. Like um learning that that was what I was missing was big for me because that's what I actually was working on even more than wanting to lose weight. Like I just wanted to last longer when I'm out here. Like I wanted to be able to get this energy out and not feel like I'm hurting myself. But I think I felt it in
Right.
little ways. Like I felt like my back, my back would hurt when I was sitting for a long time, or I had like a foot, my like that like plantar fasciitis or whatever, where your foot gets like flatter over time. I was dealing with that when I was playing basketball. So like, but I think I was just so disconnected from my body. Like I truly like, because I would in choir was the way I connected to my body. Like I acknowledged that early. Like it was what really got me inside my body. Like focused on what it looked like. I was focused on the feeling. And I noticed one day when we were practicing our breathing that like when you inhale, you know, even in yoga, the practice of inhaling, your belly fills up and then you exhale and it, contracts. But I noticed I breathed backwards. Like when I inhaled, my stomach got smaller and then when I exhaled, it got bigger. So that was like my first like body acknowledgement where I was like, okay, what is that? Like that doesn't seem right. So that kind of helped me start paying more attention to like the little subtle parts of the body. And then I started doing yoga. Yoga honestly is what got me connected to my body even more so than losing weight because even when I lost the weight, I felt so disconnected still. Like now I just had a new body that I'd never worked with before. Like I still had all of the programming, I still had all the thoughts of a body that was, 200 pounds, but now I'm 130 pounds and I still move and feel the same. I'm still wearing like the clothes. Like it's really a mental thing. So yoga really helped me to get to know where my body was at. Like I met it where it was at. And then every time I showed up on the mat, I got to know where it was that day. So, oh, hold on. Are you
Mm.
frozen or am I?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Oh no, you're good. So
Let's see.
yeah, yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, cool. I just could, yours was breaking up a little bit. I didn't know if it was me. But
Yeah, yeah.
yes, so yoga really helped me to adjust.
Okay, okay. So you know, when it came to your perception of yourself, seeing yourself in the mirror with that drop from, 80 pounds less, the perception that you had on yourself, the view that you had of yourself, and also the view that others had of you, the others that knew you back when you had more weight, how did it
Mhm.
around you in your circle as well?
It did. Yeah. It was an interesting adjustment to see how people treated me differently. Like I think I'm still like just recently. I'm very, aloof to things like that. So I have to be more conscious. You're frozen. I can't see you. I want to make sure. Oh, can you hear me now? Or have you been able to hear me?
Yeah, it's going in and out, but it's good.
Okay, you're breaking up. Okay, cool. I'll keep going. But it was hard. Like honestly, the hardest adjustment was in my family. Like, because my especially with my mom, I think she took it kind of personally when I started losing weight and kind of rejecting what I used to like before, because I think that was a major love language for us, and the way we really connected was through food. And like whenever we would go out together, we would always get like food. We'd get Starbucks or something. Like it was definitely a big part of our relationship. So, and I think she also felt judged because she was still eating in the ways, that I was actively speaking against and actively saying like the opposite. So it took a lot of conversation, a lot of patience, a couple of years, to really be able to share my excitement without, because I still live with my parents. Like this is my childhood home. So without them feeling like I'm shitting on them. Like, and also me, it's about, like I said earlier, you can't control how people receive what you say. You just control what you say. But my attitude about it needed to change a lot too, because I had a lot of like anger and just like, why, like, you see how this is changing my life, why don't you guys want to do it too, like trying to change them and all of that. So I had to really let that go and just focus on me and trust that, I'm a light, that if I'm meant to inspire someone, I will. And it's that balance, that integration, that rather than shitting on what my parents are making for dinner and saying I'm better, suggesting I can make, I'll make a side of kale for whatever you guys are making or whatever you're having. Like I really had to learn how to be patient, um, and also just not listen to the projections, because even with being patient, like there's a lot of projections, especially from older women, especially like I've noticed, like I was gonna say my family, but I noticed it in work settings as well, where they just tell me I'm too skinny.
Wow.
They always just say I'm too skinny, and I'm like, it's hilarious to me because I'm like, what do you mean? Like if y'all knew like that there's obviously never a balance, or it's never enough. So you can't even listen to things like that, because people are coming at you from their perspective of whatever they think. They met me at this point in my life, or they've known me my entire life, which is why I'm like, why are you even saying these things to me? But I had to let it go, because it really is just projection, and I can't even take the energy to unpack what they're projecting onto me. I just know that it's not for me. So it's just been, that's really helped me though, honestly, to detach from the physical like aspect of it, because I always knew that I wanted to talk about like this transformation that I've gone through, and how I've changed what I've eaten, and it changed my life, and how it helped me and unlocked my spirituality really. Um, but I didn't want to have it be like a this is how you lose weight
Right.
story.
Right.
And it felt like that's what people kept asking of me. They were like, you need to share your weight loss story. You need to share how you lost so much weight. And like I heard that all the time. And I'm like, I don't want to play into that. I don't want to just be like, tell people eat like this so you can look like this, because that's not a guarantee.
Right.
And that's not, and it just didn't feel right. I'm like, it was just a no. Like, and I felt bad about it for a while. Like, why is it a no? Like when I was plant-based empath, I really wanted to make a cookbook, like, or I like really wanted to like double down on plant-based empath. And like, I still, I'm definitely letting that idea still exist, but I was like, I need to do this. I need to show people how to like all this, eat right so that they can lose weight. And but my reasoning, my why was not aligned. So now once I was able to kind of stop taking people's projections, because that was another projection. Like, sure, if you lost this weight, maybe that's what you would want to share, is how to lose weight so you can look good. That's not why I did it. That's not why I'm still doing it. Like when people ask me about it, I'm like, it's not done. Like, and it's not about the weight either. Like, I think I've gained weight. I've gained weight since I've lost weight also, but I'm still healthier than I've ever been on this in this present moment. So it's like, it's not about the weight. And I didn't know that until I knew that. So lots of projections, lots of avoiding that, and being able to just recently with this relationship I'm building with my body and listening to it, I'm realizing my why. And I'm kind of, it's falling into place. Like, I don't have it to the point where I can write that book, but I'm like, I'm getting clear, you know, I'm like, this, how it's playing in with my energy and how I'm facing my biggest fears over the last year as far as like singing and roller skating is another big fear of mine. And it's all has to do with core work. It all has to do with that diaphragm, that like active, you know, core support. So I'm seeing how everything comes back to the stomach, and I'm literally just taking notes of my life, and just when it comes time, I'm gonna pile all that shit together and release it. But it's just been really just weeding through everybody else's idea of what my life has been, because especially the people that knew me in high school or knew me as a kid and then see me now, like, I don't even know what they may think because I'm just living it.
Yeah.
But they have ideas, they have you know, just I don't even know, like they have certain expectations, I guess, of who I am. And the thing is, I've always been the same person, like through and through. I know that for a fact, that my energy has always been my energy. I guess it's we're just so encapsulated by what we see. We're
Mm,
so
yeah.
like focused on it, fixated with it, and with, you know, with due reason, that's how we were designed. But the whole point, you know, the third eye, the nuance of it all is, you know, seeing from within. You know, we're so distracted by what we see on the outside or what we see in somebody else. But, you know, even that, see in somebody else, you need to see
Yeah.
what's in somebody. What you see what's on somebody, you're not getting the full story.
Right. Right. Man, it's in you. It's not on you. You
It's in
know,
you, it's not on you. Yep.
it's within you. It's within you. Oh man, I love this.
Mm.
I love this. Thank you for sharing all this. Like, you have so much. You know, speaking of that cup that you keep tipping back, you've poured
My
so
bone
much
broth.
up. You know, filled your cup back up, and now you're just pouring from the overflow, and we receive the abundance. You know, the energy that you project, the energy that you exude, the energy that you radiate, that you emanate. And I love that you were able to shed all those layers. You were able to let go of other people's expectations of who they thought you should be or who they even thought you could be, you know, or would be, right?
Mm-hmm.
To let all that go and say, this is who I am, you know? This is
Yes.
like, you still got your soul, you still got your spirit, you still got your energy, and it's always been. I love that.
Yes, I'm so grateful for all these questions. Like, I had no idea what we were going to talk about today, and it just feels so good to like get this. That feels like a rehearsal, because I really feel like this is the like this we are speaking on the biggest passion of my life right now, of just, you know, healing yourself. And even when you said that, that's on my it's on my vision board. Okay, I did that, made it maybe about a month ago, and it says
Right.
overcoming my biggest fear, heal myself. So that's literally what that's it, you know. So I'm really grateful for this to space to speak on it, and just to bring joy and energy and life to something, to where people think changing yourself is like it is deading a part of yourself, but it's a rebirth. It's like, let's focus on the rebirth. And I had to come to terms with that too. You know, the mental health is no joke. You know, we can speak all of this body work, but if the brain's coming in on a vibe, the brain's coming in on a vibe, you know. So we have to make space for that. But there's times where I felt like I was hitting a dead end, and I was like, I don't see a rebirth after this. I just see this is it, you know, dust my hands off. I did what I need to do. But that faith that there's always a rebirth, there's always a turnover. There's like, it's not even a circle. It's like that. It's an infinity symbol, because we hit the opposite. We have to remember that the opposite occurs, and we always are going back and forth. So it's been, you know, it's fun. It's fun to heal yourself. It's fun to be able to reach a low point, because the lower the point, the higher the bounce back. So
Mm,
speaking that to people has been such a blessing, because I've also just had to let go of how people like let go of how people receive my information, because I know that I'm speaking from a space of love. So if they get defensive, or if they feel that I'm attacking them, or if they feel offended that I'm trying to encourage them to live their best lives, then maybe it's not my space. And I've learned to be in the spaces to where my energy is reflected and it is amplified. So that's why I'm really grateful for you and for the spaces that you cultivate as well, because it's definitely the places where you don't have to convince someone of your worth or convince someone of your truth, because all truths can exist. And the more time we allow that to be, and the less we try to argue which one is more, like to just be and be influenced by each other in that way, that rather than a convincing act, like just watch people exist and
Yeah.
see how we live our best lives, and get put on if you get put on, otherwise we'll vibe next to each other. Like, so it's been really great to be able to just step into my own power in that way.
You're definitely doing that, in
Yes,
the
yes.
best possible, in the best way ever. So, my goodness, speaking of people receiving your information, Jess, would you love to let people know your services, where they can find you, and where you would like them to go to receive that?
Yes, so this is my main platform right here on my Instagram, Ray Solar. I have tarot offerings. That's my main offering at this time. And you can click the link in my bio, or actually, link in my bio is a YouTube video right now. So did that. But follow me, and you will see that I offer tarot readings. Hit my DMs if you're looking to book one right now, and I can get you ASAP. But otherwise, I am just out in the community of LA. Follow me to see the different events I'm at. I sell CMOS, my page, that's all connected through my page. And I offer yoga. I'm very much out here.
Yeah.
So follow me to see what I get into, because there's a lot, and I'm just looking to build in the community spaces that I have access to. So tarot, though, get your tarot cards read. That's a definite service.
Awesome. Awesome. Y'all definitely go follow Ray. My goodness. They say that, people will see your glory, but they don't know your story. So thank
Mm.
you for sharing your story today. Thank you for showing up for you. Thank you for showing up for everyone and giving us that fresh perspective for the collective. We need this. We need
Yes,
this today. I'm gonna go back, and watch this over, and I'm gonna be taking notes because you really dropped a lot of gems on us today, and I appreciate it. Yeah.
I appreciate you, Jerome. I'm so glad we have connected, and I look forward to dancing with you again. When are you going to be in the Mert? We got to kick it.
Let's
It's
do
been lit.
more here, even more here to explore here. Like I had a whole sheet of things that I wanted to ask, and I just let you flow and glow. So I'm so glad that you just, took it off. And roller skating is something that I definitely love. So if you know of a rink around these parts, let's hit it up.
All
Let's
right. Challenge accepted.
yeah.
Let's see. But yes, I definitely am down for a part 2 interview. I did feel like there was a lot of channeled information in that one. So yeah, I'm gonna watch back and take notes as well.
Awesome. All right.
All right, so grateful. Have a beautiful rest of your day.
You too. You
All
too.
right, peace, peace.
Peace.